I'm Jeff Glor from CBS Saturday Morning. Welcome to The Dish. Today, a culinary tour of the Bay Area. We meet an author and activist on a mission to teach people about better nutrition. Plus, the chef behind the first ever Michelin star for Moroccan restaurant. But we begin at an Italian restaurant that used to be an auto body shop. Chef David Nayfeld never felt comfortable in a classroom growing up. But when he entered a commercial kitchen for the first time, he knew he was in the right place. Dana Jacobson visited his award-winning restaurant, Kico, to taste his so-called rustic finesse cuisine.
San Francisco's Kico is a feast for the senses. All of the senses.
It's loud and vibrant, and the food is unpretentious and unapologetic. And we are very, very serious about the quality, but we're not very, very serious about ourselves.
No talking, just eating.
Chef and co-owner David Nayfeld opened the Italian Taverna 4 years ago with business partner Matt Brewer. In Nayfeld's words, it was kismet.
The second that I walked in this former auto body shop and the skylights were beaming through and I saw the vaulted ceilings and I saw the big sign with the arrow on it, I got chills down my spine, and I felt like for the first time I said, this is really where my restaurant needs to be. I need to be here.
So pasta out.
As for the food,
I wanted to cook food that I wanted to eat daily. I wanted a restaurant where I could see regulars, and I wanted craveability.
Nayfeld calls the cuisine rustic finesse, something you'd find in a small cabin in the Italian countryside or a Tuscan villa. Dishes like chicken marsala and margherita pizza with a crust befitting San Francisco, or even the cucina ebraica, Kico's Jewish cuisine, which honors the chef's heritage.
We have our kind of Roman Jewish ghetto staple, which is a soupli, risotto rice on the inside, and then when you break it, it's melty cheese, a street food. It's just one of the most delicious and kind of comforting things you could ever eat.
Oh my God. Nayfeld grew up in San Francisco. His parents escaped religious persecution in the Soviet Union, fleeing to Rome before settling in the U.S.
The great thing was that they looked at my brother and I and said, you know, we've made all these sacrifices and we had a dream for you guys to be able to live the lives you wanted to live. So do the things that make you happy. Don't do things only for money.
I'm good with the bigoli and I'm good with the mezzaluna.
For Nayfeld, it turned out to be a little of both, finding happiness and money washing dishes at a local restaurant.
School was just never something that connected, right, for me. I just missed everything that was said. And it was just painful for me to sit in a classroom. The second I walked into a kitchen, I was pointed at a stack of pots and pans, grease everywhere, soap suds coming over the edge of the dish pit. And I just felt it. I felt like I was in my place. I understood what was going on, and it just made sense from that moment.
He says ADHD was what made traditional school so difficult. But when he got to culinary school, everything changed.
I had never done well in math. I had never done well in geography, never done well in science. The second that you applied any of those things with the filter of food, wine, and hospitality, all of a sudden my mind was able to pick it up.
From the Culinary Institute of America, Nayfeld began to build a resume few can match, working in world-renowned kitchens like Nobu, 11 Madison Park, and The Mansion. Among the things he learned:
refinement, an eye for excellence, and an unwillingness to compromise on excellence and on integrity.
The manifestation was Kico, where Nayfeld says he found his true voice as a chef, creating connection by using seasonal and market-driven foods, like the sun-gold tomato and San Francisco Bay anchovy salad, or a simple small melon plate with olive oil, basil, and mint.
They sing together, it's harmonious, and I think that that's the key to our cuisine, really, is this idea of finding finesse.
The sweet corn trangoli, another perfect example. Pureed sweet corn inside handmade pasta, topped with corn, chanterelle mushrooms, and chives.
I love this. This, to me, this is summer flavors. So, once again, simplicity, not over-adorning it, not trying to show too many techniques. The technique is the quality of pasta, the perfection of the cook, and the sourcing of the ingredients, right? Very, very simple.
And while Nafeld clearly takes pride in each bite,
Dark chocolate and hazelnuts. It's one of my favorite pairings.
he admits his priorities shifted when he became a father to now 3.5-year-old Elena.
My restaurant functions without me every single day. The team that we've cultivated here is incredibly talented.
That's why it works.
And it works because they're incredibly talented. They buy into the ethos and the values. We compensate incredibly well, which is something that I cannot, state enough, which is fair compensation is tantamount to our industry moving forward.
It's why Kico raised its wages and its prices post-pandemic.
We've been able to include a profit-sharing model with our team. We distributed $70,000 from 1/4 of profits to our staff. Folks who have been here for a number of years, managers, dishwashers.
Front of house, back of house,
everybody. What we're doing is we are really creating a space for people to come, to learn, and to have security in themselves and in their lives, and not feel like they have to sacrifice every shred of human dignity in order to just be here.
What do you hope somebody who comes in here just to dine walks away with?
Simply put, I just want people to enjoy the moment, right? And I want you to order something that makes you happy. I don't necessarily need people to be batted over the head with the fact that we roll every sheet of pasta by hand and we make ragu over 12 hours and that we put 36-month Parmigiano Reggiano on it. Those are all things that we know for our own satisfaction of our craft, of our métier. The guests should just know that they love it and that they're enjoying it, and that's all.
Up next, the James Beard award-winning chef who says he's on a mission to feed the mind, body, and soul of all people. Bryant Terry was the chef in residence at San Francisco's Museum of the African Diaspora from 2015 to 2022, where he shared his passion for teaching people about healthier food choices. Michelle Miller visited Terry's kitchen for a taste of his unapologetically vegan recipes.
I would argue that this is the recipe that's the foundation of my new book. So it's a citrus and garlic herb braised fennel.
Not many people get excited about fennel. Not like Chef Bryant Terry.
Have you had cooked fennel?
I'm sure I've had it. I'm cultured. You know that, right?
I do know that.
In his cookbook, Vegetable Kingdom, the James Beard Award winner presents recipes focused on some 30 vegetables.
And you smell the anise-like
Yes.
flavor.
Oh, yes.
Hoping to once again lure readers to the bounty of a plant-based diet.
My personal transformation, when I was in high school, it was a hip-hop song.
This is what I've been saying to you all.
Boogie Down Productions rap Beef by KRS-One.
You mind if I kick the lyrics?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so it goes like this. Beef, what a relief. When will this poisonous product cease?
Let us begin now with the cow, the way it gets to your plate and how.
21 different drugs are pumped into the cow in one big lump. It gets much more graphic, so I'm gonna stop there.
Chef Terry is unapologetically vegan.
What about those folks out there who are daunted by the idea of veganism?
I tell people, just ease into it. Meatless Mondays, vegan before 6. Try maybe going 1 or 2 meals without meat. I think this idea that you're gonna be missing something could be counterbalanced by really exploring all the interesting, diverse vegetables like fennel.
Fennel aside, his day job
My name is Bryant. I'm the chef in residence here in Moab.
is as the inaugural chef in residence with the Museum of African Diaspora.
I think that this museum is a symbol. It's a beacon. It's a place where I think our people can find refuge. I'm so blessed that they let me curate this.
In 2015, he was charged with expanding the conversation on African American food in a city with a rapidly declining Black population.
That's what is so special about this museum to me, is that it connects all the people of African descent throughout the globe.
It's an idea close to home for a father of 2 who says he wrote his book for his daughters.
When people think about plant-based eating, so often we imagine it as these practices of upper middle class white suburbanites, right? And I think it's important for me to recognize that My introduction to these ideas came from Black people.
Recipes inspired by traditional soul food, where greens and legumes were the stars.
So this is a roasted potato and cabbage dish with the carrot puree at the bottom, and we drizzle a little ginger habanero sauce on top. What do you think?
Shut your mouth.
The genesis of his professional culinary education came while earning his graduate degree in history at NYU.
I was taking the subway and I see this group of young people, children, at 7 o'clock in the morning, eating chips, candy bars, drinking sodas. And it just hit me that, these young people were eating, but they were eating empty calories. This wasn't real food.
It was then he started Be Healthy, which helped kids make smarter choices about food. That led him to the chef's training program at the Natural Gourmet Institute. His inspiration behind it all?
So I'm also going to introduce Erica Huggins.
The woman he invited to speak at the museum.
That I joined the Black Panther Party.
I would say Erica Huggins is one of my primary influences for wanting to start an organization that taught children about food.
Erica Huggins organized community programs as a member of the Black Panther Party, that revolutionary political organization founded in 1966 by Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton.
They were responding to police violence against Black citizens right across the bridge in Oakland, California. The most important work that they were doing, which was largely done by women, they were doing everything like having ambulance services to take people to the hospital. They had free clinics. They had grocery giveaways where they were giving away thousands of pounds of groceries to low-income residents of the Bay Area. And they had a program called the Free Breakfast for Children program, whose aim was feeding young people a hot, nourishing breakfast every single morning.
Real food, like the kind from his grandfather's backyard in Mississippi, which closely resembles today's farmers markets and CSAs.
Communities really shared, neighbors shared with one another.
My grandfather would be like, I'm gonna give you a bag of walnuts, you give me some of those pears. He had so much that he would give it away to all his children. He would take the surplus to church. It was a thriving local food system, and what saddens me is when I go back there and it's just a shell of itself.
It's a nationwide problem. According to the USDA, 14 million households in America don't have access to affordable and nutritious food, which can add to dangerously high rates of hypertension, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and certain cancers.
There was a study about this neighborhood, West Oakland, California, in 2008, and they found that there were 53 corner stores and liquor stores in this community, and not one single supermarket. Not one single supermarket. And so I wonder, what if we shifted that? What if we went back to that thriving local food system? How would that impact the public health in that community?
The Memphis native has partnered with allies like his mentor Alice Waters, the Berkeley food activist and owner of the legendary Chez Panisse. But ultimately, he is motivating communities to lead the charge themselves.
This food movement has just exploded. A lot of people are thinking about creative ways of kind of regaining our food system, taking it back from the multinational corporations, having local, seasonal, sustainable food systems.
And you've become a food justice advocate.
Advocate, activist, it depends on who you ask. We have a history and legacy of eating, healthful foods, but because of our fast food culture, so many of us have forgotten about that. It's almost like this cultural amnesia.
For Terry, it's really about feeding the mind, body, and soul of all people.
I want people to understand the diversity and complexity of our cuisine and not just pigeonhole it. I'm helping people remember that these are our legacies, these are our histories, and it's really a matter of kind of looking back as we move forward.
After the break, we meet the chef at the helm of 2 restaurants with Michelin stars. This is The Dish. Chef Murad Lalu came to America at the age of 17 for college. Missing the flavors of his native Morocco, Lalu taught himself to cook from memory. Here's Dana Jacobson.
There's a process in my head that is it always tries to find a seed in Morocco. And then I wait and I wait and I wait. It's rare for me to come up with a dish just like that. It needs to simmer.
Chef Murad Lalu's method for creating memorable dishes is rooted in his Moroccan upbringing.
Can you put the farce in a bowl, please?
Seasoned with sensibilities of the Bay Area, his home for more than 20 years now.
These are what we call snacks.
Seriously decadent snacks.
We should start with the caviar for sure.
All right.
Like caviar with creme fraiche and a maple gel.
This is a breakfast dish in Morocco.
Okay.
The menu is designed to be shared,
And don't be shy. This is really, really good stuff.
the same way Murad ate growing up.
And we want to take dishes like something that is so pedestrian, like these pancakes that you can find anywhere in the streets of Marrakesh or Casablanca.
Very excited.
We go, cheers.
Cheers.
We want to elevate it to the next level.
Oh, that's delicious.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
So is a brioche that's been toasted with brown butter pomegranate molasses, served with a chickpea puree and topped with uni.
So this is a small uni. It's from Hokkaido, Japan. Just has this clean taste and clean flavor.
Before moving on to the next course,
This is one of the most iconic dishes of Morocco.
this beautiful pastilla.
And it's a pot pie. It's supposed to be coming out of the oven piping hot, and we just garnish it with flowers and blossoms, and cherries are in season right now, so we're putting cherries on it. So I'm just gonna dig in,
Okay.
and I'm gonna serve you.
Thank you.
It's not an everyday dish, but it's typically served for holidays or occasions, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays.
Oh, wow. That's delicious.
I literally serve it every day, but I don't eat it every day.
Yeah.
But now that I'm sharing it here with you, it literally takes me back.
Murad grew up in Marrakesh, moving to the U.S. in 1986, ostensibly for college.
4 salads, 1 with no cheese, 4 salmon.
He spent his first year here learning how to speak English. Just 17 years old and craving the flavors of home, he learned another life skill, which would eventually lead to dishes like these.
I started cooking at home, and I taught myself how to do it from memory. I would tell myself, okay, well, I'm gonna make the kefta meatballs. And then I would think about my mom used to be sitting down on the stool, and she would chop the onions first, then she would put them in the pot, then she would add the garlic, and then eventually she'll add the spices. But the dish is red, so you must have paprika. It was the hardest way to teach myself how to cook, but in the long run, it was extremely beneficial because I had to understand everything that I was doing rather than hearing it from somebody else and basically just reapplying it.
3 months after graduating with a degree in economics, Murad opened his first restaurant, Casbah. 5 years later, in 2001, Aziza, named after his mother.
When I first opened, my goal was to recreate everything that I had in Morocco to the smallest detail. The way it looked, the way it tasted, the way it ate, everything. And that's when I made the revelation that it's not gonna taste the same. It's not gonna mean the same. It's almost like saying, I love you to somebody in a different language, but they don't understand it. And that's when I tried to build that bridge and say, okay, this is where I came from. I'm gonna bring that with me over this bridge to the other side and present it to the other side.
That approach earned Aziza a Michelin star, a first for a Moroccan restaurant in the U.S. In 2015, Murad opened his eponymous restaurant, quickly earning another star for its elevated take on Moroccan fare. The menu includes 3 special dishes, served lasha, or family style, a whole striped bass with chermoula.
And you like just dig in and shred as much as you want, and you make a wrap. That's basically all you do.
Short rib cooked for 72 hours with aged butter, preserved lemon, and spices. And it wouldn't be a Moroccan meal without couscous, but not the kind many of us are used to.
I will admit, all I knew of couscous was what came out of a box.
Yes.
That's not how I should think of couscous.
No, absolutely not. Couscous is a very special dish. It's mesmerizing if you thought about it. It's made out of these little beads of semolina that you tirelessly work to mold and form, and individually, they don't mean anything. You can take one of them, put it in your mouth. It doesn't taste like anything.
Right.
But collectively, when you eat them, it's a beautiful thing in your mouth. If I were to die, my last meal would definitely be steamed couscous with brown butter. That's it. That's it. That's all I want.
And while Murad enjoyed each bite with us, he admitted, like most chefs, he doesn't often take time to savor his own creations. but he does appreciate watching others do so.
There are times when I would get out of the kitchen, go up the stairs, and overlook the room and watch people eat the food and watch the expressions on their faces. The level of trust that people put in you to actually make things without them knowing you in a remote area in the kitchen, and you send it to them and they take it willingly and put it in their bodies. Think about it. How much, trust and faith and love is in that transaction.
At the heart of it all is Murad's Moroccan heritage. Near the restaurant's entrance sits this 14-foot-high art installation made from the roots of a tree, an ever-present reminder of where both he and his food are rooted.
This dish has taken years for me to get to this point. Somebody can eat it and say, well, it's roast chicken with some Moroccan flavors. Okay, great, brilliant. But I felt like for me to be honest, I need to project who I am and what I'm feeling onto these dishes. All I can tell you is where I am in my life, this is a reflection of who I am.
For more stories like these and live coverage of breaking news, stream us right here on CBS News 24/7. I'm Jeff Glor. We'll see you next time for another helping of The Dish.